What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back for another review of Tyler Perry's Sistas. This is season 6, episode 16, and the episode is titled Relentless Pursuit. So we start this episode off with Heather. She is at Zach's house, and she wants Zach arrested for taking her baby. Now, the baby was the star of this scene because as Heather is speaking, he is covering his mouth and his nose because he does not want her bad breath in his area, in his face, in his space, okay? Now, she feels like, she has to work, so she basically can use whatever child care that she can get, regardless of if these people are tormenting her child or anything like that. She don't even care. So Zach is like, listen, you can just give him to me. Like, leave the kid with me. And she is not willing to do it. She doesn't want to give up Michael because at the end of the day, if she does, that means that the money won't come to her. Now, the cop is there, and he's doing absolutely nothing, okay? The only thing that he tells them is that they need to take this to family court. So the cop ends up taking Zach's ID, and he goes off to go run Zach's ID or whatever. Now, Zach is tired of Heather making all these excuses for her being a terrible mother. And her thing is that, well, he's slow. The baby is slow. And it's like, ma'am, no, he's not slow. Is that you have not done anything for this child to enrich his life at all. He's still in diapers. He's nonverbal. At first, I thought that we were going possibly like the autistic route or something like that. But now it just seems like she just mistreated this child completely. So she didn't teach him nothing. That's the vibe that is going. So I'm not really sure where Tyler is going to take this with little Michael. But nonetheless, Zach again is like, listen, just give me the child. And according to her, she has talked to her stripper friends, and they have told her that, she could get way more money out of Zach. So she's not willing to give up this little boy. And by her keeping him, that's the only thing that's going to guarantee that Zach is going to keep paying her. And what's crazy to me is that she's like, oh, yeah, because my friend, she's a lawyer who's also a stripper. I said, not a lawyer who's on business in the daytime and then busting it wide open and she's stripping at night. I cannot. But nonetheless, they told her not to sign anything. And I'm like, last time I checked, you already signed the paperwork. You were good with getting a certain amount of money per month for Michael. Or are we tripping? Girl, you already signed the paperwork. Go on somewhere from us with this. And that's exactly what she does. Heather walks off with baby Michael. And here comes the cop. And the only thing that he says that Zachary can do is wait for a judge to basically decide where this little boy can go. He has to go to the courts and take that route. So Zach is frustrated, he's flustered, and pissed off all at the same time. Now, moving on, we actually see Tamara, and she goes to Hayden's house. And he apologizes to her and says that, it was just too soon for them to get married. Now, Tamara was like, listen, I'm only here to pick up the things that I left over here. I'm not here for all this. So then he goes on to tell her how he wants them to give it a try for 6 months and see where it goes. However, she has to sign a post-it up. Now, she was all for them giving a 6-month trial. However, once the post-it up was brought up, she refused to sign anything. Okay, she is not willing to sign a prenup, post-it up, anything that can block her from his money. She's refusing to participate in that. So it's to the point where she is pouring it on thick about why she doesn't feel like they need a post-it, and he actually agrees with her. That man is putty in her hands, okay? And honestly, I do hope that the situation turns around and Tamara is actually interested in Hayden at this point, because Hayden ain't done nothing in a while to annoy me. Except for the fact that him and Gary had that situation with Robin and that shit went nowhere. But yeah, as of lately, Hayden ain't doing nothing to bother me. So, hey, give that man a love life. nonetheless, we gonna move on over because we gotta get to Sabrina and Maurice, okay? They are in the car because they're planning to go talk to Andy at her office. So Sabrina, she thought this would be the greatest time to go ahead and tell Maurice about how she met this really great guy. And she's like, yeah, we met him. We met them, I'm sorry. And he's like, them. She's like, yeah, it was three of them. Y'all, why, oh why, was Maurice congratulating her? Like, woo, girl, you finally had your first train. Woo, 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 woo. All of this. I was cackling. Because I was like, not her first train. Maurice, please stop. You are so out of line for this. But nonetheless, she tells him how they met these guys through Andy because Andy's on this dating app. Of course, he calls Andy desperate. And then he ends up asking her about Bio. And she's like, no, I haven't talked to him. Out of nowhere, she gets a phone call. It's the actual district attorney. He's calling her, and they basically plan to set up a meeting at Andy's office. And the DA is pretty much going to tell her, you already know, her and Maurice going to be clear. But she over here freaking out because she thinks that she's about to go to jail. You know, she calls Andy, gives her a heads up that, hey, the DA will be coming to your office to meet with us. And again, Sabrina's over here stressing because she thinks she's about to go to jail. Maurice, on the other hand, he's trying to figure out if Calvin is coming because his plan is they gonna get to the office and Maurice is gonna hop in the car with Calvin while Sabrina go upstairs. And it's like, no, that's not what's about to happen, sir. Relax. So let's go ahead and move on to the next scene because we see Pam and she is at the salon. Now, Karen shows up and she's like, girl, what you doing here? Why are you here? And she's like, oh, you know, the contractor's supposed to come today. Come to find out, there is a contractor there and Pam has eyes for him, okay? To the point where she is trying to shoo Karen away. She wants Karen to leave because she has a fear, not a fear, but she basically feels like if this man sees Karen, he's going to be interested in her and not interested in Pam. And I kind of hate the fact that she felt that way, especially considering Karen is pregnant. Karen don't need to look at no man. Nope, she need to focus on herself and that baby, okay? And that is actually what Karen says. She tells her that, you know, she sworn off men. She lets Pam know that this baby is actually Zach's baby. There is no more Aaron. It is just Karen being focused on her baby and her own health. And, you know, that's just it. So here comes Mr. Contractor, y'all. Now, on the show, his name is Brian, but we all know him as Jason Weaver, okay? So, according to him, because they ask, oh, what's the damage looking like in there and all of that stuff? He says, oh, it's all cosmetic. And then he proceeds to list every damn thing that can be wrong with the whole damn building. I mean, they got asbestos, the building is old, she'll need all new equipment. I mean, the list was going on and on. And I'm like, sir, this ain't just cosmetic. Y'all need new wiring. She just need to go ahead and start on over. Tell her that part, okay? Because it sounds like everything is wrong. So, he says that he can have someone send over some estimates for her or whatever, just because there's just so much asbestos, okay? So, at one point, you know, Karen is basically saying like, oh, you know, my friend here, Pam, she's interested in you or whatever. She likes you. Y'all should go on a date or something. Baby, this man said, no, I'm married and I have 7 kids. When I tell you Pam dropped that interest so fast, what she not doing is a married man or a man who got all them kids, okay? That's just something she is not into, okay? So when he leaves or whatever, Pam mentions it again that she might need another job. And I'm like, okay, are y'all hinting at the fact that Pam may not be joining us next season because she's going to be leaving Karen at her salon? Let us know ahead of time. I'm just saying. But nonetheless, we move on to Zach. He goes to see Fatima, and she's like, you're late. Like, you know, this lawyer, he's been waiting on you, blah, 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 blah. He's like, well, let me tell you what happened with Heather. So he gives her all the details of what went down. And she's like, maybe we could get an emergency hearing so that way, Michael can get back into Zach's custody. So Sabrina and Maurice show up, right? Because they're here to see Andy. So Fatima is taking him to go see Andy. And we hear Maurice, and he is feeling some type of way because Zach did not acknowledge him, okay? And this is the what got me, y'all. What got me was the fact that Zach gonna tell him, oh, I didn't recognize you because you don't have your uniform on. Nigga, what uniform? He worked at the bank. They didn't have a uniform. What are you talking about? So then Maurice, he's like, listen, let's not forget that I let you open up a bank account with a library card. And I can't lie, I was hollering because I kind of forgot that that's what happened. I kind of forgot that Zach had no type of real identification to even open up that bank account. But y'all, that was that scene. We gonna move on a little bit to some. Oh, actually, no, it wasn't the end of that scene. Sabrina and Maurice, they met up with Andy, and Andy had no more information than she did when she first got the phone call. She does say that this is an unusual situation, and Maurice, he decided that he's just gonna be disrespectful like he always is, and he's just throwing the B word around, just throwing it left and right. And Andy is not here for it because she's like, you're not about to call me out my name. What does he do? Instead of calling her the B word, he calls her a hoe. I said, you know what? Somebody come get Maurice. Please, come get him. So we go back to Fatima and Zach. And Fatima is pissed off about this whole situation when it comes to Michael. And now she is plotting. And Zach is like, when did our dynamics change? Like, it used to be that I was the hothead and I was the one who always trying to, like, do or whatever just so I could get my way. And you were more level-headed or whatever. And according to Fatima, she basically feels like, this is just her hood tendencies coming out, basically. And they also see Hayden and Tamara, they walk by, right? And Fatima, she's starting to feel bad, but Zach is like, don't do that. Because let's not forget all the stuff that Hayden has already put us through. It ain't worth it to feel bad. So Zach basically tries to diss Fatima like, oh, so this is what you do all day? You just basically do paperwork and you be coming home so tired? So then she hits him with, well, maybe you should fill out a job application because it's been a while since you worked. I said, ding, ding, ding. I've been saying that shit for weeks upon months upon I don't know how long. Whenever Zach got that damn money, I've been trying to figure out what does Zach do all day. We literally have a whole show called Zatima where he goes to an office and pretend like he doing work, y'all. He ain't got no job. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. But y'all, I'm gonna let them do that thing. Eventually, hopefully, Zach will get another job. So let's jump back over to Andy. So Sabrina and Maurice are there, and they are meeting with this DA, right? They're in the conference room, and before they even got there, I was hollering when Maurice was like, ladies first. And then he followed it up by saying, with bad fashion. I'm like, no. Today the girls look alright. You should have saw them last night. That's when the girls had some questionable fashion, okay? So they meet with this DA, and Maurice just keeps interrupting. So it gets to the point where the DA finally lets them know that the case has been dropped, Q is in jail, and also they can have their jobs back. And I'm just like, they jobs back? They shouldn't even want to look at a bank. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, I am so glad that that is over. It was anticlimactic, but at the same time, I feel like the whole thing with Q, it went on far too long. So let's go ahead and move on. Now we see thirsty ass Tony, y'all. And he's getting out of this black van with a briefcase to go work at the airport. He has a briefcase to work at the airport. Y'all, what's Tony's job? Somebody please tell me. Someone please tell me what Tony's position is at the damn airport. I'm just gonna let that be, okay? So Danny pulls up and he notices that she has a new car. So they talk about, last night and how basically he was pillow talking with Jordan about calling Andy. I think it's lame as hell that Tony talks so fucking much. It is so lame that you out here giving Danny a play-by-play of every word that you and Jordan talked about. That's weird, okay? And then it's weird also that y'all out here pillow talking morning, noon, and night. Like, what men do that? I don't know. Something about this group now is giving a little too close for me. A little too close for comfort. But nonetheless, Tony is going on and on about how Jordan, he doesn't have any game. And then Tony decides to switch it up and talk about how, he sent Danny a text last night and how he basically kept it in code just in case Preston saw it. So then Danny, she's like, well, you don't have to do that. I'm like, ma'am, why are you trying to play with fire? I don't even understand at this point. So I personally think that it's lame the way that this may play out. And that is with her trying to shake her relationship with Preston just for her to end up with Tony. Like, it's very weird. Nonetheless, this man says, he's trying to shoot his shot. And here we go with these two, they're flirting or whatever. And, what's her name? Danny. Danny, she mentions how, she has another friend referring to Karen or whatever. And he's like, oh, I'm all out of friends. Basically, it's just us three. Ma'am, Karen is pregnant. I don't know what is happening on this episode where everybody trying to get Karen to hook up with somebody. Karen is a whole pregnant woman, okay? What man is about to go play around with her? Please let me know. Because if anything, they think that the baby daddy is still in the picture. Nonetheless, Tony, he basically says, let me know when you leave Preston. I'm sorry, but when I tell y'all, Tyler writes these men to be the most out-of-pocket Negroes you have ever seen on TV. I promise that's what he does. Because, like, who would do... I'm not about to go there. Not about to go there. So, at the same time that Danny is saying, listen, as if she was going to correct him and say, listen, I'm in a relationship with Preston, or whatever she was going to say, it did not even matter. Because who pops up? Preston. And he says, what about me? Say, what about me? What's going on here? And, baby, that is pretty much where the episode is. But here's my thing, okay? Danny, why, oh why, do you keep playing with Tony? The fact that you've told this man multiple times that you're in a relationship, he knows everything about you, you don't find any of this to be strange or weird? Can we get some love for Danny? Can Danny love on herself first? Instead of her still trying to chase after men? She's been chasing after men for the past, I don't know how many seasons, and it keeps putting her in jacked up situations. And here comes another one. We're tired. Like, can we get her to go to therapy or something? Oh no, we can't do that on Tyler Perry shows. Y'all, let me know what y'all thought about this episode. Now, next week, it looks like it's going to get a little bit more interesting, way more interesting than this episode. But like I said, let me know what y'all thought about it. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I will talk to y'all in my next review. Bye, guys.